Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are Podcast Network. This is I Hate Being Sober, Season 1, Episode 4, Tales from a Las Vegas Minister, featuring Howdy Clowdy. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, thank you so much. Please go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. We're at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at /We Are Podcast. With that said, on to the podcast.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to
I Hate Being Sober!
And now our host, Doug!
Hey everybody, welcome to I Hate Being Sober, a podcast about personal stories from epic people. And today I have a super epic person that I met through the magic of the internet. So real quick, I'm going to say hi, Howdy. Howdy. Clowdy through Instagram and everywhere else, but also this is Kirsten, is that correct?
It's actually Kirsten, but you know, I do respond to, it's honestly anything.
Well, we're going to call you probably Howdy, just because that's how I know you, and I think that's a great name. Plus, it's so much fun just to say Howdy. And I'm in Texas, so it makes sense.
You get it.
And just so you know, yes, my name is Duck. As you've seen everywhere else, it's David, but you can call me Duck. Everyone calls me Duck. I mean, they even call me Duck at work to the point where they call in like, oh, that was Duck. I mean, David. I mean, I'll get him on the phone. So we met through the magic of the internet.
We did.
So just to kind of break it down real quick so everyone knows, I'm super excited, and you're going to love this podcast. You're going to love the things that you hear today, and we'll let our guests kind of take over here in a minute. But first of all, this is how we met. I was spamming Instagram for my other podcast, We Are Bagu. I was sending it to as many people as I could before Instagram would shut me down. And it just happened to be that Howdy said that she had a Twitch stream that day. And I was like, all right, well, this girl's cute. What's going on? Let me go check this out. I go to the stream. Immediately, she catches my attention. And actually, you were the first Twitch stream I ever watched. I just signed up for it. Very cool. And I get on there. And I met with this person who was playing BioShock, who all of a sudden, cursing, swearing, telling amazing stories, smoking the weed. I don't know if we can say that. Is that legal in Nevada?
It is legal. Oh, absolutely. They deliver it to my door.
Fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So cashing bowls left and right, talking about these little little sisters and just having a blast. And I thought every Twitch stream was going to be that entertaining, and I have found out they are not. So thank you for being the first Twitch stream. Thank you for being super entertaining. The reason we are here today, though, is to talk about your absolutely one-of-a-kind job and your feelings on that, because that's the thing in the Twitch stream you talked about the most. So I was like, I've got to keep talking. And at the end, I'm like, I can't waste this opportunity. I'm going to ask her to be in a podcast. So first of all, hi again. How are you doing today?
Howdy. I'm great. It's been a good day today. It's so nice outside. I don't know if your weather is good, but I walked outside today. It's like 75. The good thing about being in Vegas is everything heats right back up so quick that we don't have to deal with the bad weather.
It's so weird, too, because even though you can go outside right now and we are in the midst of the corona crisis, it feels haunted outside. That's the only way to put
absolutely.
It. Everywhere you go. And you've talked about this in your Twitch streams, how Vegas, because you are in downtown Vegas, I can see that view. That is unbelievable. Wow.
I like this view.
How high up are you?
We're up on the 21st floor, which is cool. Whenever my cat gives me problems, I feel like I want to like dangle him at the side and be like, don't you dare.
That's so evil. I love it. But yeah, so Vegas, you said you were walking in downtown Vegas, you and Mr. Coffee, that's what I call your boyfriend. And he's right. You know, you have one cup of coffee and you get branded the rest of your life, or however you say it.
Right, I know. I don't think he's had a coffee since that switch.
So 21st floor, downtown Vegas. Vegas is usually the life of the party. It's Sin City. It's everything you want it to be. And right now, it is dead. What is that like?
Dead. It's so weird, actually, because we have a lot of businesses here that are still considered essential. So you see a lot of people that are still just driving around. But it's really strange to walk up and down the Fremont Street experience, which like the older Las Vegas, it's downtown Las Vegas. It's not the Strip, but it's where most of the locals go, I would say. And what they were doing just before everything shut down is they were actually renovating the main Fremont Street area and widening the sidewalks, because typically there's so many people on the streets that you need bigger sidewalks so that way people aren't just walking in the middle of the road, that they're still on the sidewalk. So they like made the actual street smaller and the sidewalks bigger, and now there's nobody out there at all.
It's ridiculous.
It's just,
isn't it?
It's really quiet. And I know the only people that are out there are the homeless people. And,
how
but
weird
there
is
still
that?
is way less. I don't even know where I don't know. We were driving past something the other day and there was just like honestly like hundreds of homeless people just hanging out in this one area. So I don't know, they're all just in one spot. They moved them out of downtown or what? But
they've got their own weird life going on. We have a lot of homeless here in Texas. In Texas, I don't know if you've ever been here before, but it's a lot of space. Nevada's probably a lot of space.
Nevada's very similar, I think, to Texas in that way where we have that.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty much barren, and then unless you go to the store. But this plays into kind of why we are here talking about this, because your job is not deemed essential. Howdy, that's what we're going to call you on this, because it's so good. She marries people for a living. That's what she does, and it's insane. I've never talked to anyone in my life. I mean, I've talked to a preacher maybe, but I've never talked to a person who actually does this for a living, who makes money. This is a business. And then on top of that, the sheer amount of people that she marries in a day is astounding. First of all, are you from Vegas?
Yes, I was born here in Vegas. I was born here. I lived here for a while. My dad at one point got laid off from his job when I was young, and we moved to Reno, which is, if you're talking about empty space between like in a state. So Vegas is at the bottom and Reno's kind of in the middle, and it takes about 7 hours to drive there. And I can't say that there's really that much in between. There's like maybe 3 like really small towns, like those small ghost towns that are like in between. The only money that they make off of anybody is from the speeding tickets, because people will be going like, they go like 70 when there's like huge stretches of nothing, and then you hit the small tiny town where it's 25, and then you get a speeding ticket. So
right, it makes perfect sense actually.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have all of this big space here.
So you were born and raised there. You've never lived in any other state, correct?
No.
How did you end up in downtown Vegas?
So I moved back to Vegas once my boyfriend moved here for work. I followed him a little while after, and I finished college out here. You
and your boyfriend have been together, high school sweethearts, correct?
Oh, no. Because I was 19 when I met him. I'm 25 now. I just turned 25 in the beginning of the month. So I was 19 when we met, and he was 24. He's a little bit older than me, so I know, a little bit weird, but whatever. The hardest part was just that we couldn't go out drinking together, and all of his friends were his age, so I didn't meet all of his friends for like a long time, and I don't think that they thought that I existed. So, and then they met me, and they're like, let's go out for drinks, and I'm like, well, I'm not 21 yet, and they're like, oh. And they were fine with it, but they were like, oh, that's why she hasn't been around.
Well, it's 6 years together, though, too. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
And like you said, through college, you dated the entire time through college?
Yeah, not like the entire time, but through through my hardest phases of it, I would say. Like, he's been through all of my jobs, and he was already graduated from college when we met, and he got his degree in physics. He's a smart person. Damn. He's like the smart person.
I was going to say, you're on the 21st floor of a Vegas high rise. Like, there's a reason.
Well, he works in tech, so even like his job is so safe. Like, if anything, it's the safest job right now. Mm-hmm. But so I moved back to Vegas to be with him, and we have only lived here in this specific building for like since November. We lived kind of near the strip before that in a house, which was kind of close to my job. Before I got into actually officiating weddings, I was going to school here. I was working at a wedding dress store, because that's what I was doing before I moved to Vegas. I worked at a wedding dress store.
How did you get into that? Like, it's a good transition, but you did start, were you selling dresses, or were you just...
I was just kind of like the receptionist, and then I was also doing a lot of the phone calls. I'd call people whenever their orders came in. I would call them on the phone. I'd let them know to come pick them up. I'd answer any questions. Like, a lot of time during the end of my job, I would just sit in the back and answer phone calls that came in if there were something that I could handle, and then forward them if they were something that needed to be taken care of by someone else. I didn't really do the wedding dress try-ons. I would do it if I was the only one in the store, which happened a decent amount, but they worked such small hours and didn't really make any money because of it, so I didn't really want to do the whole, because their whole pay is based off commission. But I liked talking to people and kind of getting to know them and talking through their whole big day and their ideas and everything like that. But it did get to a point where it was only a part-time job, and I was not getting scheduled more than 8 hours a week. 8 hours a week is nothing. Like, it's absolutely nothing. It was 2 4-hour shifts a week.
Real quick, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. When you were younger, when you were a little girl, were you obsessed with weddings and all that stuff, or not really?
I mean, I think as much as like a little girl is, but not really. I had 2 older brothers. They played video games. I played video games. They ran out and played in the mud, and I ran out and played in the mud. Like, I was in Boy Scouts practically just because my mom was like a troop person, so I got dragged along. But I don't know, it's when I got into like high school and stuff and you get like boy crazy, you start thinking about your weddings. And then when I started dating my boyfriend, it was kind of something I thought about a lot in the beginning, probably just because all of my friends were getting married and I was like, I have to get married. This is the thing. But then it's like the longer it went on, like the less it meant to me.
It's so weird that you say that too, because hearing you talk, and we're going to talk about it here in a minute, about the weddings and officiating the weddings, and you spark up. And I asked you on the Twitch stream immediately, is like, are you looking to get married? And you're like, whatever. Yeah. And it's so weird that you would rather be a player in that big day than be the focus of the big day, which I truly believe you will be. And you and Mr. Coffee, it's going to be like the biggest wedding ever because he owns a coffee fortune somewhere.
Yes, of course. At that point, he's going to own 1,000 coffee chains just called Mr.
And on top of that, it's got to be big. You see weddings every day. So it's either go, like the thing that most people do where they run away and get married, you see that shit all day.
I kind of want to do that though. It's like, that's fun, and you don't have to care about other people's opinions.
Let's definitely get into that. Moving from the wedding shop, you were working that out here.
Yes.
When you said you were in Reno, and then you came here and you did it.
Yes, because it was a chain, so I was able to transfer to a store here in Vegas. So I worked there. I was going to school for criminal justice because I thought I wanted to work in in general, I loved learning about it. It was a really interesting major and I loved it, but I was only working 8 hours a week and I was like, I need to make more money than this. This is impossible. And my boyfriend's like, well, why don't you think about applying at like a chapel? Like there's so many of them here. Like it's kind of related. So I did. I applied at like a couple and I got interviewed at a few. And then one of them, they were like, we want you to be able to perform weddings because they're like, we do everything. We do everything here. You walk in, one person can check you in and do your wedding and take your pictures. So in order to have this job, you need to be willing to get ordained. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds fine.
And that was in the interview process that they told you that?
That was like one of the first things that they said to me. And that's the first thing when I do interviews for people, because that's my job now is to interview the people that come in, is are you willing to perform weddings and to be ordained? Because that's like a third of the job, I would say.
Why would that be an issue? Is it a moral issue for people that they don't want to be ordained, something to do with religion? That's an issue that comes up? Because it's kind of the way you leaned into it. You sounded like that can be a big problem for people. Is that what it is?
There's been a few things that have like when I myself am doing hiring that have like put me off like just asking that question. For some people just have no idea what that means, and that's always kind of like, okay, well, why do you want to work here if you don't even know what? You know. But one lady, she said yes, but I don't want to marry gay people, and I was like, ooh, yeah, exactly. I was like, well,
gotta love the gays. Come on, it's ridiculous.
The gays are better than the straights.
I imagine those weddings are the best. They're just excited
to get fucking married.
I bet you they are. I've never been to a gay wedding, but if anyone wants to invite me to one, I will go in a goddamn heartbeat because I love my gays and I want to go and I want to see the good time. But so this lady said, no gays, I'm not going to do it.
And I didn't say anything like right there, but in the state of Nevada and everywhere, and I know it's like you have those piles of resumes where it's like, yes, don't call these people. But in Nevada, it's like you have to. It's the law. That can't be what stops you. And when you're having people coming into your business, and it makes me sad when people call me and they're like, do you marry gay people? And I'm like, fuck yeah, we do. Whatever.
Doesn't everywhere? I mean, Texas was the one that legalized it across the nation. I mean, they approved it, and Texas. It was. My mind was blown. And the day it happened, we all celebrated. We were like, "Fuck yeah!"
It's so exciting, and that's why I like the gay weddings the best. Is I still have a decent amount of people that come in. You know, they do like they've been together for 2 months, and they're like, it's time. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, right.
So you get the job. And you get ordained, right?
I get ordained while I'm
what
training.
What was that process like?
It was so easy. It's really easy here in Nevada. I don't know what it's like in some other states. But once you get ordained here in Nevada, it does also cover other states. Like I think you can marry people in Washington and California and Texas. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. She promised. But
do it.
I know. And this is also something where if someone has a criminal record, it's not something that we think is bad at our job, but you do need to be able to pass a criminal background check in order to become ordained. So I always mention that to people, not because I am like, what have you done? But I always mention it just so that way, if it's something that they know they're not gonna pass it already, then it's, I'm not doing the background check, they do it, but you have to be ordained for us to continue the job. And if you can't get ordained, then we would no longer continue to train that person. Because
no drug screening though.
No.
Nice.
Oh no.
Sick. Let's talk a little bit about, you got ordained.
Yes, I got ordained.
And then what was it like? The training, how long was it?
It's a small business. There's like 3 chapels. There's 12 people maybe working at the most. I have a small group of coworkers where we all can chat freely with each other. So it's kind of like I got in, and the first thing they do is kind of just go through all of the packages that we sell. Because for us, it's like you have the smallest package, which is $100, or you have the biggest package, which is like $2,000.
You can get married for $100 in Vegas.
Yes.
That's what you're telling me.
Get married. I know. And some people think that that's too much. Can you believe that? Some people still call me and complain about our prices.
If you can't afford $100 for a wedding, you do not need to be getting married. That's insane. That's like throwaway money. Like, it's like, you want to get married on a weekend or go to Red Lobster? Which one? It's
I know, right? Like, so the marriage license itself costs $77. And you can probably get it done cheaper, but we're professional. Like, we're good. You're not just getting married on a street corner. So for all of the chapels in Vegas, they each charge, I don't know if you've ever stayed at like a hotel in Vegas or like a resort where they charge a resort fee. All of the chapels, they charge their own officiation fee. And it's different because every chapel will run themselves differently. For us, our officiation fee is really cheap. It's like $50. And a lot of other chapels, they usually charge $100 to like $150 because usually that's what pays the minister.
And is that on top of like the $100?
The package prices.
Okay,
so our package price is $50, and then it's $50 for the officiation fee. So total, it's $100. So when I quote people prices, it's the same price, but nobody includes it in their price. It's one of those things where it's like, I know it's annoying. When people call me, I tell them. When people ask, I tell them the full price. Yeah, it's about $200, I would say, is all you need to really get married in Vegas. And if some people think that that's too expensive, then I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like if you haven't been to Vegas before, I've never been to Vegas, but you need to bring like a base of 2,000 with you just to be there. So
I would say
that's next to nothing.
So yeah, I mean, I understand like you probably already spent all your money before you got married, but it's not my problem.
No, pull out that credit card. We're going to swipe that bitch and take care of this.
I know. We accept tips too, and sometimes people get like mad about it. And I don't need tips. Like, it's not like, for us, it's hourly pay. It's commission if you make your sales goal, which is, selling the packages that are on the thing. And then it's tips that are split based on the hours worked, basically. So that way people aren't like fighting over shifts.
So there is a tip share in there? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. But some people are offended. They pay you and then they're like, well, you only did 5 minutes of work. Why should I also tip you? And I'm like, technically you don't have to, but I don't see why you have to be a dick about it.
You tell them that?
No, I don't. I'm like, it's always appreciated.
I saw it in your face at transition because the real like, fuck you, motherfucker. And then you're like, oh, I mean, it's
no. Yeah,
all right, real quick, let's talk about the first wedding. So you get through the training, you're ready to go. Oh, what is that first wedding like for you? Because for the people there, it's got to be nerve-wracking, but how is that experience for you?
For me, it wasn't fun. So we always practice on each other. Like, I could send you pictures I have where it's great.
Right there, the funnest job ever. Fake marry people? Are you kidding me? I want to do that now. That's awesome.
It's great. It's great. You can do that. I mean, you don't need to be ordained to fake marry people.
I'm weird enough as it is, but if I start going, hey, you guys want to do a fake wedding real quick and try it, people are going to be like, Duck, you're fucked up. That's
fun. You just need to print out a script from online. But
so you're practicing, you got everyone. What's that look like? We
practice with each other, where usually my boss, my manager, she would stand there either just by herself or with another person. And she would just stand there while I read the ceremony. And then she would either let me read it all the way through or she'd correct me as I go. And it wasn't that bad, but looking back now, it was about 2 years ago when I started. I was really high pitched. I feel like My voice was like way more high pitched because I was like actively thinking about it. And my boss will tell you this because she likes to use me as an example to people that we're training. She's like, you should have seen this girl when she first started. She would be like, we're gathered here today, like doing my voice. And then when I messed up, I would be like reading. I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, because I know that I would mess up even if they didn't know that I messed up. So I would apologize in the middle of the ceremony. So there were a few times where I definitely cried afterwards, where I felt like I did a really bad job, because it was just, it's not out of like sadness, even just, I'm always crying. I cry during everything. I get angry and I cry, and I get sad and I cry, and I get happy and I still cry. I would just like out of frustration or like embarrassment I would just go in the back. Like the fact that I knew my boss could tell that I messed up, because she, but then she would come back and she'd be like, everything okay? And I'm like, no, I fucked up. And she's like, yeah, it's okay. They don't notice. They're fine.
29 more of these bitches coming through today. Who cares? Pretty
much exactly what she said. Yeah. She's like, well, it's fine. I was going to say what really helped me get good was I had this new manager who was completely terrible and psychotic crazy. She told me that she threatened her husband that she would cheat on him if he didn't buy her enough flowers for Valentine's Day. And this was last Valentine's Day.
That sounds like the kind of women I date. Like, no joke.
I don't date those people. They're fucking crazy.
Those are the women I'm attracted to. I'm sorry. The crazy bitches.
You wouldn't be attracted to her. She wasn't cute either. It was just.
I mean, don't have to be cute either. Trust me. I dated trolls.
What happened was my crazy supervisor, who she managed to slip in, and like I'm the manager now. And so this was before I got promoted, because I only recently I got promoted right before I got laid off.
Oh, that's so
I know, right? But it's okay. They're going to hire me back. So she was the manager, and I don't know if she thought that our boss was like stealing money from her for some reason, because she didn't make her commission goal, and she thought that she did. And she's like, well, he should have paid me for that. So she just decided not to show up on Valentine's Day.
What a bitch move.
It was
a crazy bitch move. Wow.
It was awful. I had one other coworker at the chapel, and our chapel is very small. Typically, I would say that I need like a team of me and two others on a really busy day to kind of keep everything flowing and to get everybody their breaks.
And how many couples are you going to deal with in a single day?
On Valentine's Day, it was 22. And these are like 22, it's 22 couples, but then it's not just the couples. Some of them, it's just the two of them. Some of them, it's the couple plus 40 guests, which is our max. That's how many.
Whoa.
A lot of people.
So you have to put on a show almost at that point.
Absolutely. And so the manager at our other location, so she doesn't show up to that location, this is our downtown location. It's actually right down the street from here. There's two locations in there, so they're twice as busy as us. So they have like 40 to 50 weddings to do that day, and she just doesn't show up. But they have double the staff too. So like I have 3 people, there's usually 6 to 7 people there. So it's about, the same. And so since she doesn't show up there, I have to send my coworker here. And it's just me and my general manager at the other location. This
was a step up day where you really showed your work and showed them, hey, listen, I take this shit seriously. How many weddings?
So it was 20. I think it was like 20 to 30. Like, again, I don't remember exactly because this was a year ago. But for me, it was like my boss, she's from Latvia, and she has a very thick, it sounds like Russian accent. And she does not like to do, I know, right? It's sexy, but she doesn't like it personally. She doesn't like to do weddings. So she does all the pictures and she does all the video. And so it's like, it's for us, the wedding is broken into the first half, which is the officiant checks people in and does the wedding. And then the second half, which is the photographer taking the pictures and then ending the appointment.
And how long is that? Each one you said 5,
like
10
30
minutes? 30 minutes?
So
okay.
I would say like they come in 30 minutes early to check in. Let's say if the wedding's at 5, they check in at 4:30. We get all the paperwork done. We get everything paid for. The bride changes if she needs to. We get the guests sat. The ceremony's about 5 minutes. And then we have all of the guests go outside, and then we do their photos inside the chapel. It's just like a 5 to 10 minute photo shoot. It's just short, quick poses, pre-posed, pre-positioned. It's not like a $10,000 professional photography shoot, because none of us are professional photographers. It's like, when you go to like Target and you get your baby pictures taken, it's like in-house photography.
Right.
So on that day, on that Valentine's Day, my boss is like, all right, well, I'm not doing the weddings. So you do the weddings and I'll take all of the pictures. Wow. And I was like, okay. it's
trial by
game
fire.
time.
Yeah.
It's trial by fire. So it was just me and her all day. So from 10 to like 10, it was just
How
me and her all
exhausted
day.
were you after that?
It was a really long day, and I do think I cried afterwards, just again from like pure exhaustion. I was so tired, and I came home. My boyfriend's like, "Are you okay?"
Hold me.
And it was
I felt like I was slept for 2 or 3 days after that. Like, you got to be kidding me. How did you feel?
I was tired, but I felt like at that point it was
done.
You know, it was in my head and it wasn't going to come out.
Well, it's almost like the biggest fear of the worst day literally could happen. The worst thing in that scenario in that job would be that.
Yeah.
And it happened. And it was for real. Now, so before that, very first wedding you did, you said you were super nerve-wracked. You were just like crying afterwards. You're like, I screwed up. After that, you're like, fucking throw 50 at me. I don't even care.
Yeah.
All the way.
Even if it's, pretty much. Because this year has been busier. And the thing that was tough so the Valentine's Day last year was on like a Wednesday or a Thursday, which meant that Valentine's Day was busy. And then also the Saturday afterwards was almost busier because that's when people actually got time off to travel for Valentine's Day.
Wow.
And we had that same, not issue this year, but February itself was just completely packed full of weddings. We had the 2nd, the 12th, the 14th, and then the weekend after that, and then the 20th and the 22nd and the 29th. And those were all days that probably had like 20 to 25 weddings scheduled on them because they were special days in February.
Now, is this normal? Let's talk about that real quick. That's intriguing. There's seasons for weddings. There's time. So February, Valentine's Day, obviously.
Yeah.
Are there other ones throughout the years that like they're off months or they're super busy months? Is that kind of a thing throughout the year?
For us, it's like our off time is when the tourism is not as strong here in Las Vegas. So for us, it's mostly like the winter season. We'll just see a dip in weddings unless it's around like New Year's. If it's New Year's Eve day, busy days. Those are the special days I want to get married on. Like we charge extra for people wanting to get married on Christmas and New Year's and April Fool's Day if it falls on like a Saturday because people want to do the fake weddings or just get married. I have people who just like to get married on April Fool's Day, which I get.
Fake weddings though? What's the story with the fake weddings?
Well, it's just a prank. Think about the pictures that you get and then you go, oh my God, we got married, and it's like
it's not a real wedding then.
Some people do the real weddings. And if you don't want to do a real wedding, you just have to sign an extra disclaimer that says that you understand that it's not legally binding. If you want a real wedding, then you have to have your marriage license. If there's no marriage license, yes.
That's amazing. I can come to Vegas.
Yeah.
I, for $100, can get fake married to whoever I want, get the pictures, actually have them in my house. And we are not legally bound in any way, shape, or form.
Not unless you have a marriage license. So
that is fucking awesome. I'm
fun.
Sorry. That's so great. And real quick, while I'm thinking about it, Elvis. Everyone wants to get married by Elvis.
Oh my God.
You said you have multiple Elvises that work there. Let's talk about
Elvises
them.
It's like they're Elvis sometimes, but not as talented or pretty.
At the chapel there, is there always an Elvis? Say I show up and I'm like, I want to get married. Where's Elvis? Bring Elvis out. I demand Elvis. I want some fucking suspicious minds in this bitch.
For one, it's the worst song. For two, I have a few Elvis stories, and they all kind of connect. So the first one, Elvis does not work at the chapel, and so Elvis doesn't work at our chapel. He's like a contracted person. So if someone wants Elvis, I call Elvis, and I'm like, "Hi," it's like this. It's like this. I call Elvis. I'm like, "Hi, Elvis. I have someone who wants to book for this date at this time. Are you available? Yes or no?" If he says yes, then I book him. If he says no, if I'm like talking to the customer, I can try to move them to a time that he's available. Or if they've already booked online, then I will go on to the next Elvis and I would see if that Elvis is available. Because if they book online, we want to try to keep that appointment. And if I don't have an Elvis available at that time, then I call them to move because it's based on his availability. So I had a customer who New Year's Eve, it was busy, but the morning was kind of slow. And I got through all my appointments. I got through everything by myself that was coming in. And then my coworker came in to break me at 12. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on my break. I'm going to stay on the premises. But if you need me, like, you just call me because we work inside a hotel. So I usually just walk around or go get lunch or something. And like 20 minutes later, she calls me, and this couple came in and they insisted that they were promised that they could just walk in on New Year's Eve, which is like one of our busier days of the year, and just get an Elvis appointment when they get here.
Who told
and I was
them
like,
this?
exactly. I'm like, who told them this? I train everybody myself. And that's exactly what I thought. Because like I said, there's only really two, like it's me and my coworker, my trainee, who is only there. He's never there by himself. It's just, I'm there by myself a lot, which is why everyone needs to be ordained. Because if someone just walks in and wants to get married, you have to be able to do it if you work by yourself.
That doesn't sound safe though. Is it safe to be there by yourself?
I mean, we're in a casino. So it's like, it's like you walk down the hallway and then you look in and there's a chapel. So
there is security on premises.
Oh, absolutely. No, yeah.
Okay.
I've called security once or twice.
Oh my god. Okay, so I did not know it was in a casino. So Elvis, they booked it online. They came in. They
didn't book shit online. They didn't book anything.
Okay.
They just walked in and they started yelling at my person because they were like, we want to get married by Elvis right now. And we were promised that we could walk in today and get married by Elvis. And my coworker's like, I have literally no idea who would have said that to you, because that is not anything that, again, I trust everybody. I trust her to her. Like, out of everybody, she's the one person I work with the most. So, like, I know she didn't say that to somebody. I know nobody would say that to anybody. It's a stupid thing to say. What happened was, I think they had called like 2 or 3 times and made an inquiry. And then we're told that if they walk in, we could maybe accommodate them, because we can. I believe that they wanted to get their vows renewed, and they didn't mention that they wanted to get their vows renewed by Elvis. So we told them that if they just wanted to walk in, then we could probably accommodate them. But if they had mentioned that they wanted to get married by Elvis, then we would have absolutely told them, like, you need to make an appointment, because Elvis doesn't just hang out here.
Building. He's not here.
And on New Year's Eve, Elvis is busy. Like, yeah. I can't. And they ended up being fine. I ended up marrying them. I told them I could do a traditional ceremony for them.
That's crazy.
But they were like, no, we were told this. And I'm like, but you didn't book anything. And they're like, well, no, they just said we could walk in. And I'm like,
ridiculous. Well, how about that? So people are gambling. People are getting them free drinks. I think they're free. They're free in any casino I've ever went to, pretty much, or close to.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Let's fucking do it. Fucking do it. Let's get married, bro. Let's get married. And then they hop down to the chapel drunk, or are most people sober, or what are we kind of looking at?
You can't marry people when they're drunk, legally. If they do not look like they can consent. I have couples where they've been booked for 6 months, and they've got like a group of 40 people, and they show up, they're a little bit drunk, and they're having a good time because it's Vegas. And you can tell that obviously this is not something that has just happened. You know, like they didn't get drunk and decide to get married and are going to regret it tomorrow. They have a group, they've been booked for 6 months, and they've had a couple of drinks, but obviously you can tell that they're loving each other. Sometimes you get people who just walk in and they can't even stand up.
That's what I would do, personally.
Exactly. So I had this couple, these girls walk in, and they came and they sat down, and you can smell it already. It's like a small, like a little chapel. So it's like they walk in, and I'm like, oh, I can smell the vodka, the tequila. And they sit down, they're like, oh my God, I want to get married. We're getting married. It's be so great. And the one girl is kind of like got more chill than the other girl, but the other girl's like arms all over her. She's like trying to kiss her, and she's like, and I'm like, oh man. And I'm like looking at my boss, and she's kind of like looking at me, and they don't have, at that point we were only taking cash for our officiation fees, so they didn't have the cash. So I sent them to the ATM, and I was holding on to their marriage documents, and I like look at my boss, and she's just like, I wouldn't. And I was like, okay, that's all that I need, because it's like our own discretion. Right. And they came back and they sat down, and she even said that they had been taking shots. Like she said it out loud to me. So I was like, okay, well, you guys seem like you've been having a really good time today, which is awesome. I'm so glad. But unfortunately, you guys did tell me that you're really intoxicated and you didn't have an appointment, and I just don't feel comfortable marrying you because I can lose my license and I can pay like a fine. And the one girl was super pissed at her girlfriend for being such a mess. Because if they both walked in like fine, but kind of smelling like booze, not like trying to like touch and love and like be like, oh my God.
Be blackout drunk. She was obviously almost blackout drunk. So you can't consent. That's
exactly. That's so insane. I was like, I would love to marry you guys if you want to come back tomorrow. If you want to come back in the morning, I would be more than happy to take care of this. But
hungover.
Yeah, if you're hungover, that's fine. even better.
Yes.
If you're
Because
hungover,
then,
you still want to get married, then perfect.
then you definitely want to be together. That's
Right.
ridiculous. How do people usually walk in? What kind of attitude do they have towards the whole situation? Have people been planning for this for years? Spare the moment? Do people come in all happy and like, we're doing it? They're in that moment. And then we talked about some people are nervous and you see those wedding day jitters.
Mm-hmm.
And this couple was super aggressive. What do you mainly experience whenever people come in to get married?
I would say the kind of most that I get is most everybody is really excited. Most everybody's really happy to be there. But if I have a negative attitude, I'm going to say most of the time it comes just from nerves. It comes just from these people being nervous. They've never done that. Probably have never done this before. Some people have, but it still is like
6 times this week. Give them a punch card. Let's go.
I can see how many times people have been married before I marry them. So
what word? Tell me how.
It's on their license. It's on their marriage license. It
I
shows,
thought you could read them that well. Like
right?
you could be like,
Wouldn't that be
oh,
great?
this motherfucker's been married before. He's just sitting around the place like, so we doing this? We doing this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people, they say it, but it's like sometimes you just go through, they have the marriage license and the marriage
It's on their marriage license or their driver's license?
The marriage license.
Okay, I thought you said your driver's license. I was like, what a weird
that would
thing
be
to
weird.
put on the driver's license. I'm an idiot. So,
but it'll say how many marriages they've had.
That'd be hysterical. It says how many times, but you can't say anything. You can't be like, oh, you've been married 3 times, huh? Like, that would make it awkward on a wedding day. Or do you have to?
I won't say anything until they say anything. Because most people, they will, like, if they've been married before, they'll kind of tell you. They'll kind of be like, this isn't our first time. Obviously, we're here in Vegas. But everyone is still nervous. It doesn't matter how many times they've been married. Most people are still in one way or another nervous. Some people are like happy, excited, nervous, and they get bubbly and they get like, oh my God, this is like the greatest. Some people get mean, which is maybe not fair, but it's usually the guys. It's not that they're trying to be mean. It's just that they get so nervous that they just completely shut down. So when I try to have a conversation with them, they just like look at me. Like they have no idea why I'm trying to talk to them or anything.
What point do you have to be? You're kind of like both a therapist in that situation and a salesperson in that situation.
Oh, absolutely.
How does that work on your side of it? Because you're dealing with these emotions and these pre-wedding jitters and, like you said, all those things. How do you juggle that?
So when they first come in, I make all of the guests wait outside because we have a very, very small, even just waiting room. We have 2 benches that can accommodate like 3 people each. So it's just small. So I make everybody wait outside. I just sit with the couple. And as I'm checking them in, I'm kind of like asking them questions. I try not to ask how long people have been together because it's like a loaded question. You can kind of ask it in a way where you can make people laugh, because lately when people come in, I'll be like, oh, so how long have we been together? Did we just like meet in the Uber outside or found each other playing craps in the casino? Right. And that usually makes them laugh. So even if they're like, oh, well, we've been together 4 months. And I'm like, well, at least you didn't just meet in the casino. And it makes them feel a little bit more
Did you come up with that yourself? Because that's really good.
I do think that I heard my coworker say it.
But you did study psychology. Like, so, I mean, that's genius to do it that way. Because really, to do the shortest length of time. So even if it's 7 days, you'd be like, well, at least you didn't.
Yeah.
So good.
I have some people who just meet when they get here, but and if they've been together from now, I don't really. But I really have not married people who have been together less than at least I don't know, maybe like a month is probably the shortest that some people have been together. Month. Yeah, I know. Can you imagine?
No.
I know, right? I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years, and we're still like.
I mean, it's just pure insanity to me to think that. So whenever you go into this situation, and like you said, some of the people were nervous, how soon does that dissipate? The weddings are relatively quick, like you said. So once you get into it, what do you experience mostly? Because like you said on your stream, you've done it so much, you're just like, it's normal. I get jaded to it. I don't even notice anymore. But then you have the inverse where I hear you talk about it and I see you light up. And you light up like Christmas. You really, really do enjoy your job. And you enjoy it. So I know you don't remember every person you've married. How many people do you think you've married? How many couples?
It's in the hundreds, like for sure. Like it's definitely, because I've been there for 2 years, and just even thinking about how many weddings I did in February alone, like this last February, because like I said, I had like 6 or 7 days where we had like at least 20 weddings, and I didn't do all of them. So I probably did about 10 to 12. So in February itself, I probably did 60 to 80. And those are just on the busy days too. Like I'm also there on the slow days where I do 7 to 10 by myself, but usually it's just like signing. But I would say that I probably have done a couple of hundred people so far,
It's pure insanity.
which is why it's really hard to remember anybody. The only one that I really, really remember is when I married one of my friends here in Las Vegas. We just went up to like a mountain. I just did her wedding. I did a religious ceremony I've never done before, but.
Ooh, I was going to actually ask you that. Are you religious in any way? No. Atheist, agnostic, just don't care.
I grew up in the church, but.
And by the church, you mean Christian, Catholic? Okay.
Yeah. We went, I guess non-denominational. I guess I don't really know. We went to church on Sundays, but here in Vegas, we don't do the religious ceremonies at all. Right. And I tell people if they would like to have that be a part of their ceremony, they are more than welcome to like say verses or something to each other when they do their traditional vows. But nobody ever wants to do their own vows.
So they're there. They are there for the shotgun wedding. They're there to get it in. I mean, to get in and get it done. Basically, yeah. I guess maybe they are there to get it in. I'm sorry.
Right. No,
I couldn't skip over that joke. That was so good in my head. I'm like, well, technically, that's what they are doing.
There are some people that are getting married specifically to have sex. And,
what? Time out.
The Mormon people. Come on.
Are you serious?
Of course. Come on. You've never met some. I live right next to Utah, so we get the Mormons all the time.
And they are getting married.
Probably. They're like 19.
So they can have sex.
I can't imagine that there's any other reason for it.
Wow, that's pure insanity.
It's just because they're so religious that it's like, oh, well, we have to get married and so we can start having kids because that's the only reason to have sex. That's why Mormon people have like 40-kid families.
Hey everyone, it's just Duck jumping in here real quick to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And if you're enjoying the podcast today, please share with your friends. It's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, back to the podcast.
I was going to ask that. No polygamy, right? You can't marry more than two people.
No. Oh, that's not. I don't think that's legal anywhere.
I don't think it is either. But if you watch Tiger King, somehow they did it. I don't know if you watched that.
No. That's it wasn't for real. Because we can do that. Like we can do that type of ceremony if they pay for it. But it's not legally binding because there's no paperwork. Like it's just.
Wow. But have you ever done that ceremony where it's like more than two people?
I did a ceremony for two couples that were, I don't think swinging, polyamorous. It was weird. I will be honest. It was a little bit strange. They're like two couples, and these two couples were married to each other. And so what we were doing is we were doing a commitment ceremony so that way they would marry each other's partners.
Word.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That means they all get in the hot tub later and do what the Mormons do after they get married. But that's
they were not pretty people. So
whatever, it takes all types in this world. That's absolutely insane. That's an interesting wedding. Yeah. Your friend who you married on the mountain. Let's talk about that real quick. The Christian ceremony or the religious ceremony. What was that like? Because you said that one really sticks out in your mind.
Oh, it only sticks out because I was really nervous because it was for my friend. I was so worried I was going to fuck it up and she would hate me forever. But we worked together at the wedding dress store. She had texted me and she's like, oh, I hear you're doing weddings now. And I was like, oh. And she's like, well, we're looking for an officiant to marry us. And I was like, well, I'll do it for like $40. And she's like, okay. I don't really care. I just wanted like gas money. I know, right? I was like, and then I told her I'd get her the marriage license or the marriage certificate. And that cost like $20. So I only made like $20 from it. I just wanted to do it for.
It's punk rock as fuck. You don't even know. I was in a punk rock band for a long time. We just go play places for the gas money.
Right, of course.
How about, have you ever married outside the chapel other than that? Have you married people anywhere?
No, I haven't. Everything that I've really done has been contracted through the chapel. Like I've done weddings at Red Rock here in Las Vegas, but that's the only one that I've done. It sucks because we do helicopter weddings, but like right before I could do one, it's like they only are for contracted ministers. So for people that are employed directly by the chapel. Because I'm employed by the chapel, it would be a conflict of interest for me to do the helicopter wedding. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, we do weddings like that, but I haven't had a chance to do that.
What is a helicopter wedding? What is that?
They just get married while they fly over Las Vegas over here. It's like a 10-minute helicopter ride, and everyone's just wearing the headset, and they just sit together. and they just do the wedding. They like have to yell, and they're like, someone's taking pictures over here. And
did you make the noise a second ago? That noise? Because
no, I think that was my chair.
That was awesome because it actually fit. Because it made it sound like you went. We're getting married up here in the helicopter. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Many weddings, hundreds upon hundreds of couples you've married. Yeah. The weirdest ones, other than the swinger party that you had there. Any other weird ones you can kind of think about?
Oh man, one second. I'm just gonna scroll through.
I was gonna say that you are in photos across the country then, in wedding photos, because when you marry them, you get your picture taken with the couple, right?
Yeah, so I am in like the background of pictures because, like I said, sometimes I do the weddings. If I'm the only one there, I'll do the weddings and then I'll do their pictures afterward because we're kind of like a do it all your own. I am in some people's photos, and it is a little bit strange to think that I'm in people's photos. Some people want to take pictures just with me, and I'm always like, no.
That's weird. Well, with that said, though, do you like to dress up or do you just keep it casual?
I try to do both, if that makes sense. I want to make sure that when I go to work, unless I know for a fact there's like nothing going on that day, I always try to go with like my face looking nice and made up and my hair looking nice. And like I just wear all black to work all the time, which is great when it's 120 degrees outside. You get it, but
gotta love that Nevada weather.
Great, we're about to get there. But because I'm going to be I'm doing their wedding, so I want to look like, because for them it's the most important part of their life, or at least it's going to be something they're going to think about forever. But I also don't want to look like hot.
I was going to say, you can't look better than the bride. And y'all can't see Howdy, but if you want to, go to her Instagram, Howdy Clowdy. Howdy is very attractive, so it would be very easy for her to outshine the bride. Okay, I was going to ask, is that a fear of trying not to outdo people? Because where is the limit? How dressed up do you get? How much makeup do you put on? Like all that stuff.
Yeah, the number one thing is just wanting to make sure everybody is comfortable. And so my makeup, I'll always usually do my makeup, at least like on weekends. I do my makeup really nice. I make sure that my clothes are always not comfortable, but I wear like slacks, and I try to just wear like a white t-shirt or like a blazer over it. I don't really wear any skirts. My boss has told me when I started there, she told me not to wear any skirts above the knee because men are weird, and it's absolutely true.
Oh, we're terrible creatures. We really are.
Yeah, so it's just like, but for the sake of both the bride and the groom, I want to look nice, like I care, like this is important to me. But I don't want to look like I'm like a hoe, like going out on the town.
Well,
so.
It goes back to, I can tell how much you miss it. And we talked about that. Even just there, you lit up again talking about it. And you do have a love for what you do. You have a passion for it. And just like anyone else, not probably every day is a great day, but whenever you're in the zone and you feel really good and you're like, I'm fucking killing this shit.
Yeah.
But also it's the emotional aspect of it. The thing I like about watching your Twitch stream is you have a steady stream of consciousness, and I'm sure the weed plays into that, because weed makes me do the same thing where I'm just like, motherfucker, listen here, but at the same time, you're constantly entertaining and you're constantly emotionally driven. But I can tell that you have that wall up where you're like, I'm not going to put up with anyone's shit ever. So it's kind of fun to see the dichotomy of that. But also when you talk about the weddings, because you do talk about them quite a bit on the stream, you could see you're missing it and you enjoy it. So what is it about doing that job that brings that out of you? Because I can see even right now when you're thinking about it, you're lighting up. What is it about that? Like
I said, if I have couples that are kind of coming in with attitude, I would say a lot of the people that are coming in with any sort of attitude, it's mostly just because they're nervous and they want to have complete control over this moment because it's the biggest moment of their life and they have to share it with somebody else. And a lot of times it's women, but you get it from the men sometimes too, who are the planners. Because a lot of the time the woman is going to be planning the wedding if it's a straight couple.
But even if it's a gay couple.
You have the one person that's the planner and that usually will want to have control. Some people just have a hard time giving up that control. And I really like it because you see people when they're vulnerable. And these are people that sometimes I've never spoken to before, but some of these people, when they book I've talked to them on the phone for like 6 months. Like sometimes they call me more than I talk to my own mom. And I talk to these people on the phone a lot. So then sometimes they come in and I know them, and to like walk in and be like, hi, are you Sarah? And she's like, yeah, are you Kirsten? And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, I'm excited to meet you. I'm going to marry you today. And then like you can see where they're like, oh, okay, like you've already had this connection with this person.
That's so
it's
cool.
Just like but sometimes they also look at you like you know how to do everything. And I am always scared. Like I'm always scared that I'm just faking it and that they'll be able to tell that I'm like that. That's the thing is like, I'm always like, oh my God, they're going to call me out and they're going to be like, you don't know what you're doing, because I never really feel like I do. But sometimes they're just so ready to like you take care of us, you know what you're doing. And for them to trust me like that, it makes me really happy, and I want to do the best.
I'm going to tell you a little inside secret from being alive a little bit longer than you. Everyone feels that way at all times. I know insurance like the back of my fucking hand, and I'll rattle off shit. I'll hang up the phone, and I'll turn to my coworker and be like, really sounded like I knew what the fuck I was talking about there, didn't it?
Right.
And that's how I feel. I work at a comedy club. You know how many comedians I've talked to who have expressed their trepidations or their fears?
Yeah.
Big name comedians, before
Absolutely.
they get on stage, have that same fear of, don't know I'm faking it. Don't know I don't know what I'm doing. Then they get on stage and just kill it.
Exactly. So, and yeah, that's what it's like sometimes.
What is the very specific thing of that, though, that makes that happiness come out of you? You've created a relationship with some couples, or just, do you think it's the positive atmosphere of being at the wedding and watching people get married? Because it is supposed to be the happiest day of people's lives, right?
Yeah. Yes. I think it's just a lot of times sometimes you can, if the person is not like a nice person, it's definitely, I'm like the whole time I'm just very like I'm not smiling at all. Like, as someone who marries a lot of people and maybe does not always believe that it's the best path for people to go down, when you see people who are going to make it work together, or you just know when they're together that's like what marriage was made for, kind of, it's just exciting. Or when you have sometimes you have parents or grandmas. Like my favorite was just this old Mexican grandma. After the wedding, I was kind of letting everybody out. She walks up and she holds my hands and she's like, that was beautiful.
Aww.
And for me, it's like, I do the same wedding 20 times a day. And for her, she's probably heard it before. But just knowing that I was the one that was a part of like a moment in their life that was special, like this little Mexican grandma, I didn't marry her. I don't know who she is. She's been around for like 95 years. And she told me that this was one of the most beautiful moments in her life that I could provide for her.
Oh, you're killing me. My heart literally just
I know. It's
I can't even imagine. Like, I'm over here just like...
I cried. I was like, when I told her I cry when I'm happy, she's like, that was beautiful.
You're perfect for weddings, because somebody's supposed to cry at the wedding. So you're crying at the wedding.
Exactly.
That you were meant for this job.
That's what makes it worth it, even though there are days where it seems like every couple comes in and just has a problem. If there's even just like one person.
They've got to be like,
of course, but sometimes it's not the couple. Sometimes it's their fucking shitty ass family, and I'm like, get your shitty ass family out of here. I hate them. And sometimes they have to apologize for.
Well, they say you don't marry the person, you marry the family. Do you think that's true?
I feel bad for some of those fucking people. No.
Do you think that's true though? No?
I think it's as true as you let it be, because some people, I don't know. It depends on the culture. Because there are some cultures where obviously cutting off your family is easy, but if some of those like Filipino cultures, extra hard to do anything like that. I was going to say,
it's called white people. We do that shit all the time.
No, absolutely. I could tell you.
So let's talk about that. The races. Let's bring it in. Let's break it down. We are white.
We are white.
How do white weddings go?
White people, sometimes they come in and they're happy, but sometimes they come in and they're just like, completely like stone faced, like they're not excited about
they're white. All. That's what we're known for.
We don't need to be happy.
No,
and then it's like you have like a black group come in and they're excited and then they're angry and then they're also like, there's so many emotions going on there. But at the very least, I usually have fun with like It's hard. It's hard. Black groups are so hard. They're all so fucking late all the time.
Trust me, they know. No one's going to be offended.
It's just groups, though. Like, the more I think
no,
about
that's
it,
black folks all together. My brothers and my sisters, they are late all the time. You don't even know. How about the Hispanics? How about the Latinos? I imagine those are probably the funnest weddings to do. That's what I would think.
They're very fun. They're very fun, but I think it's also kind of the same with Black people where they have a tendency to be extra late. Like I said, if you have a big group, there's gonna be late people. But I guess I've noticed with Black people is that usually it's the bride that's late. No, so as opposed to the guest.
She got to get that hair did, girl. She got to get that hair did. The nails did.
They always look fucking good, though. When they
oh, my God. Black women are gorgeous. Black ladies, call me. That's all I'm saying. I love you. I love y'all. Come
my favorite thing is, like, I'll look at their marriage license, and I'll be like, this woman is 70, and then I look at her, and she looks 40.
Black don't crack. That is the fucking truth. You know how many times I card women who are in their 40s, and I'm just like, baby girl, you look like... I ain't going to talk about your second card.
I know. It's so...
And also that comes back to white people. Yeah. We don't have friends or family, evidently. So we're there on time, and
we get out. They just have a tendency, or to just be like, if they're late, fuck them. Like, just close the door. And I mean, I do that with everybody anyways, but I had a couple... This is like one of my crazy couples where they came in and they were already late. And it was one of my busy days, so it made me mad because I'm like, how dare you? Because I call everybody the day beforehand to tell them that they need to be here early. And if we start late, I'm either going to charge them more or I'm going to reschedule their entire appointment and charge them more, or I'm just going to close the door.
Now, you take the credit card ahead of time, so you already have it booked in, or do you have to get payment after?
When they book their appointment to reserve the time, they pay for the package. But if they're late or if they need like a rescheduling fee or if there's any add-ons or a large group, we charge that on the day of.
Okay.
Because for large groups, we don't want them to be like, oh, we're only going to have 20 and then have 40 and then fight us about paying it, you know?
So crazy couple.
They come in. The bride is here, I'm pretty sure, and she was a little bit early. I think she was mostly on time. I don't remember having a problem with her at all. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure she was wonderful and sweet, and she was good, and I talked to her, and she was really nice. The groom was a dick, and he, like, walks in, and he's like, well, people are running late. And I'm like, okay, well, I called you yesterday, and I told you to make sure everyone was here on time. And I told you to tell them to come earlier than what I told you because people are always late. And I say that to people on the phone. The bigger the group you have, the more late people you're going to have. And he was really mad about it. And he figured out, though, that I couldn't start the wedding if he stood out in the hallway, like all the way down at the end of the hallway. So he went out and he stood at the end of the hallway for his family to get there. And he kept being like, it's only 2 more people. And then like 6 people would walk in. And then he said, we were still only waiting for 2 more people. And then eventually he's like, well, my sister's on her way. I'm like, well, is she parking or is she on her way? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, I have to close the door or I have to move you guys to 9 o'clock because I have another couple that's sitting here waiting and they need to get married. And you're pushing everything back. Yeah. Everything. They pushed everything back. And it was like a 40-person group too, so it's harder to get them all set. And then finally he comes in and he's mad because his sister's not here. And I tell him that we'll open the door if she gets here, and she doesn't. And at this point, the wedding was already supposed to start almost like 45 minutes
ago.
Like we were late.
And you were frustrated, probably.
And I was mad. I get mad. I get red. I get pissed.
And so how are you going to marry them while you're like dearly beloved? We are fucking here today. That's all gone by the time we start. Because it's just like, I finally like closed the doors and we got married. And again, it was nice. It was easy. And then afterwards, I was like, everybody needs to go outside so we can take pictures now because I have the next couple here. And they were like, why do we have to go outside? Why can't we stay inside? I want to do this. And the thing is, they can't stay inside because it's super fucking distracting. It's so distracting to try to pose people and take their pictures when everybody else is standing there and talking to them. And, you know, they don't look at the photographer. They're looking at their friends and their family. So I make everybody go outside and they're all fighting me and they're all yelling at me. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Get outside. Get outside. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And I was actually saying that. They're like, why can't we stay in? I'm like, because I said so. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And then as I'm pushing everybody out, this one girl tries to run in through the door. And I'm like standing there like this because I'm like, no, like I can't. I'm not even in the mood for this. So you're blocking the door.
And she's like pushing past me. And I'm like, ma'am, I am not letting anybody in the chapel. nobody is allowed in the chapel right now. You are waiting outside. And she's like, but I missed my brother's wedding. And he's like, that's my sister. That's the person that I wanted to be here. I'm like, why are you 45 minutes late? It's been, what are you talking? If you wanted to be here, you should have fucking been on time. I don't know what to tell you. Like, obviously you don't care that much about your brother if you can't even be asked to show up on fucking time on his wedding day. And she was just like, why can't, I'm like, they need to take pictures now. And she's like, I'm his sister. And I'm like, I don't care. Get outside. And I pushed her kind of, and I closed the door and I locked
Boom. Done.
And he was just like, well, that was my sister. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Paid for. Get out.
I have another couple waiting and you need to do your photos now if you want photos. So I don't know what to tell you.
They probably got drunk and forgot. It's not even a big deal.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the bride was extra nice, but that I would say has happened more often with Black and Latino couples where they just, someone is just 45 minutes late and they're like, but I want her here. And I'm like, I don't know.
It's known. Black folks know. And Latinos know. They know because they party different than us. Mexicans, like if you hang out with Mexicans, I'm in Texas. I'm in Texas. You hang out with some Mexicans, it's an all-day party. White people were like, fucking 3 hours. You get here at 9. We're done at midnight. Anyone's after that bullshit. Mexicans would be like, man, we're going to 6 a.m., motherfucker. Let's go. How about any other crazy weddings? I like that. I like the crazy wedding story. I mean, we could talk about beautiful weddings all day long, which I think is wonderful. Yes. Any other craziness?
I had a couple, after the wedding is over, I make everyone wait outside, doubly so if they've made me mad at any part during the check-in process, because fuck you. I'm going to do what I can to make you unhappy in a way that's not like against my job if you make me mad. I am doing this wedding and they're taking videos, and this couple themselves, I've worked with them on the phone for like a while before they came, and the groom was nervous as fuck. He was so nervous. It was so cute. It was so cute. Aww. He was so nervous, you know, like he was like, not like the mean kind of nervous. He's like, oh my God, I love her so much. What if she doesn't like my vows? I'm like, bitch, she's marrying you. You know, like,
do people love like that? Is that real? I
know.
Is that real?
Isn't it sad? It was like gross.
No, it makes me hopeful. Like for real. Like I'm just, we'll get to that anyhow. So anyhow, he's nervous.
But so he's nervous, and I'm talking to her and I'm talking to him, and they're both really sweet. And I'm pretty sure their people were late, like pretty late, but I didn't have really much going on that day, so I didn't care. They're kind of giving me a hard time before the wedding because we don't allow cell phone photos or videos unless you pay extra for it. Because if you think about how many people have amazing iPhones, or if people were just to bring their DSLR cameras in, then we wouldn't make money off of anything because nobody would buy our pictures, right?
Right.
If they want to take their own photos on their cell phones, it's $75. And obviously everyone feels like it is their God-given right to use their fucking cell phone during a wedding. They always fight me on it, and they were really mad, the grandparents were, and I finally got it all worked out. We're going in and I'm starting the wedding, and as I'm starting the wedding, the grandmas just talk to each other. They just are talking to each other through the whole, like, while I'm talking. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then they start talking to each other while he's saying his vows. Like, they're just sitting and talking.
About.
Yeah. And I was like, so I like look at them and I was like, shh.
Like, did they?
No. It bothered me because we were also taking a video. It's the thing. My coworker, I think, was taking the video. So I'm sure it's out there somewhere if you can find the video.
Of you trying to librarian shush the grandparents.
I was so mad. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, I need everyone to step outside. And one of the ladies was like, but I'm the bride's mom's sister. And I was like, okay, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm only going to have the witness stay in while they take pictures. That's the only person we're taking pictures. She was like, no, I want to stay in here. And I was like, no, I need everybody to step outside. And she's like, you never said this to us. And I was like, I very clearly explained all of this before we even started the ceremony, but you talked over me. And she's like, but you didn't explain it well enough. And I was like, no. I was like, okay, first, I'm just going to say, I will let you stay in here. But I explained everything to you right before we started, and you were talking over me the whole time. So just because you didn't hear me doesn't mean that I didn't say it, okay? I'm going to let you stay in here, but I'm not going to let you tell me what I did not say, okay? I explained this to you before we started. And then I just left while my coworker took pictures. And the couple came, and they gave me a really good tip, and they apologized because
They're family. That's what you're
I'm so
saying. The
sorry.
family, it sounds like the couples aren't the difficult ones. Like you said, it's the families. Have you ever had any difficult couples, though, come through?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yes, it's always, not always a bride, but a lot of times it is. My favorite was, again, everything happens when I'm away on break. I'm on my break and I'm just sitting in my car. I don't want to go back to work. My coworker calls me and she's like, hey, I have this lady here who says she only wants to get married by a man. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks because it's just me. Like, I'm the only, at that time, I was the only one that was working there that was ordained. And my coworker was working on getting her minister's license. And then my boss is a girl. So it's like the owner is a man, but he's never there. She's like, well, she just says that she just, because for her religious purposes, she wants to get married by a man. And I was like, okay, I'll come talk to her. And I walk in and I grab her paperwork and I like shuffle through it. This is her third fucking marriage. And I was like, okay. So I go in there and I'm like, hi. How can I help you? And I'm going to be your minister today. And she's just like, oh, it's not that I don't want you. It's just I'm very traditional. And so I want to get married by a man. And I so badly wanted to be like, honey, you are on your third wedding in Las Vegas. Like, and I was like, I'm legally the only person that is able to perform your wedding ceremony here today. So unfortunately, this is it. It's just going to be me. So, do we have any special words we'd like to share with one another today? Because that's what I asked.
You just went into it. You just like, this is the hard. That's the hard sell right there. Just like, bitch, it's me. This is happening. Let's go.
I mean, it's not the first time I had that request, but it was the first time someone had like really made a super big deal about it. And I was just like, I'm sorry, it's me. Any questions? We're getting started. I'll see you soon.
But I've kind of gathered the way that you talk about it. You win people over more than, because they walk in there with terrible attitudes. And somehow by the end, you win them over. And we'll get to the best version of that at the end here. It seems to be what you do. And you seem to, I said, you're a salesperson and a therapist at the same time, along with being, I guess, a minister. Do you call yourself a minister?
Yes. That's what's on. That's what I sign as is minister.
That is so fucking awesome.
It's super fun. And sometimes I can't. Sometimes people fucking hate me. And
you can tell.
I can tell. I can so tell. I can tell, and it hurts and it sucks.
Annulments. How does that work? Do people ask for them? People get married and then they want to get it annulled immediately. What is the story with that?
So we don't do annulments. Annulments, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure. I try to keep. It's interesting. There's a lot of information I try to just keep myself ignorant about because people will call to try to ask questions. And I hate when they ask questions that have nothing to do with me. And sometimes they just call because we're the first thing that pops up on like Google ad services. So for everything, for even stupid things, they'll be like, I want to get a divorce. Where do I go? And I'm like, I don't know, bitch. I do the opposite. Not like that, but I'm like, I'm so sorry. If it's a question like that, I'm not really nice about it. I'm like, you probably want to call someone that works there.
You never have people come back the next day, try to be like, we fucked up. We made a mistake. Like, we need to undo this.
Usually it's like an email because I feel like these people don't want to be seen after they've done something stupid. But yes, I have had someone call me and ask if we could just not file, which is illegal. Once it's been signed, it's legally binding. Even if it hasn't been filed or recorded, we have to file it back within 10 calendar days. And then I've had a few emails, kind of the same thing, where they're like, if you haven't filed it yet, can you just not? And always have to be like, sorry, no. If you no longer want this marriage, then you are going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's it. You're going to have to figure it out.
And are those the people that you remember that you're like, these two should not be getting married? This is not good.
Honestly, it's sad, but all of the couples that have done that to me, I was not the one to marry them. So
maybe the wedding went wrong. Or they didn't like the ministers. They're like, fuck this, we're done.
Yeah, like, this chick sucks. I had one guy who came in and very aggressively demanded a refund. I think because his partner no longer wanted to marry him or something like that. Like, he walked in and he was, like, wasted. And he was like, I want my money back. And I was like, sorry, we don't do refunds because we don't. Everything's kind of final sale. He's like, but I didn't get married. And I'm like, I understand. But when you booked, it's explained that it's non-refundable. So you already accepted our terms and conditions. And he was just wasted. And he started yelling at me. And I kind of just kept explaining it. And I used to work at a hotel front desk and also a casino. And that job, I had way more people yelling at me than this job, and nobody's ever happy when they're checking into a hotel. So, and I had a lot more drunk people yelling at me there too. So I was just trying to talk through it. And then my boss came out to try to talk to him, but she was getting very angry.
Right.
And I was just like, they were just yelling back and forth at each other. And I was just like, this is really boring now because nothing was happening. Like nobody was changing their mind. They were just having the same fight back and forth. So I called security, and he's like, you're going to call security on me? And I'm like, I don't know what else to tell you. Get out. Like,
yeah,
and
ridiculous.
He's like, you didn't marry me. My girlfriend doesn't want to get married, so I shouldn't have to pay this money. And I was like, I'm sorry your girlfriend doesn't want to marry you. It's probably because you're a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Sir, I think we found out why she doesn't want to marry you. So here's the issue. You're not getting your money back. Have a good day. Take care.
Yeah, pretty much. And so what we did is we called security, and security like escorted him out, and we had to make copies of like our refund policy basically, so that way we could show the security guys or whoever. I don't even know why we had to show security. I was like, look, he wants a refund, and it's very clearly as written here. So
when they called the cops, they could explain to the cops, definitely.
Probably.
So no annulments. Is there any other stories or anything specifically you want to say?
I had one guy that was really mean to me. Like the whole time I was booking him, and they were doing a renewal of vows, and they came in, and he was wearing an Elvis costume, but you could very clearly see the outline of his penis in the Elvis costume. Like, and I was like, what? The whole time I was like,
oh, but you can't not look. Come on.
I know, it's the only thing I could see. I don't know if he just wasn't wearing underwear, but it was so tempting to like
huge?
frame.
Be honest.
It was like okay, I think. But it's just like, I don't know. It was so hard. I wanted to give him all the photos where you could only just see the penis, but I felt like I would have gotten a bad review.
It doesn't even matter. I don't think
really
I could have
hard.
not said it. I would have been like, dude, that's your dick. Like right there. Like,
I'm like, I can't even take your pictures because it's the only thing I'm like zooming in on that.
Oh,
like
that's terrible. Oh, I love it though at the same time.
But
he knew what he was doing. You don't leave the
weirdo.
house not knowing that is visible.
Maybe when he rented the costume, because I think he rented it from our costume store that we partner with. Not a costume store, like a tux and gown rental store, but she also does like the Marilyn and Elvis costumes.
Oh, that's cool.
Maybe he just didn't realize how thin it was, but
no, the problem is how thick it was, girl. You better listen.
Right. I mean,
you said you couldn't stop looking. That's ridiculous. It's
when you see a girl with like the biggest camel toe ever, it's like that. It's like your eyes are just drawn to it, and you can't, even if it's not appealing. Yeah. It's like a black hole. You're just like...
It's like, I've got to look. Don't look at camel toe. Okay, let's do this.
It's like the same thing when girls come in and with their tits out everywhere, too. And you see that a lot with...
Listen, women look at tits, too. It's just they're much better at it than we are. Guys,
because we know what it looks like. We know what it looks like when someone's looking at our tits, so I feel like we can correct. But some women try to stuff their titties into dresses that just don't fit. And I also have gotten pictures of people's nipples that way because it's like I'm taking pictures and I go back through and edit it and I'm like, oh my God, like sometimes they're it's like those F
nipples popping out the top.
Yeah.
Any other weird stories?
The last one that I did that probably like really, I was doing a sign and go, which is just signing the paperwork at the counter. A lot of people that we do that, they are just kind of needing it done. We get a lot of military people as well who just need to get the paperwork signed. I had they're children. They're like 18 years old. They're coming in to get married. It's 2 groups of 18-year-olds that are getting married, 2 sets. I don't think that they were in a relationship, one of the couples, but I think they were just friends. And a lot of people, especially with military, I would say I always get the babies with the military. You always get 18, 19, 20. It's like LDS, military, married immediately. For military, it's because they want better housing because you get like a house and you don't have to stay in the barracks if you're married. So that's why people get married. But I was marrying this couple and they were like 18 years old and they're really funny. They're really cute. They're just cute kids and they're getting married. And I marry them and I say, do you take this person? Do you take this person? And they both say yes. And I say, okay, I pronounce you as husband and wife. You may now seal your vows with a kiss. And then I sign the paperwork and then they high-fived each other.
Yes, that is the best.
I was like, okay, so maybe these people are not in a relationship. And maybe they just got married for military housing, which is, I'm not saying it's the worst thing. There are worse things out there. It seemed like they liked each other enough. If they are cool being roommates like that, whatever.
So no kiss at all.
No.
That is
The
awesome.
next couple, I think, were actually together. And I was at the end of the night, and it was a busy day, so I still had these two couples, and then I still had one wedding after that. And they were waiting in the waiting room as I'm about to like marry this other couple. And so there's these 18-year-olds and then another set of people that are getting married right across from them. And this one lady's like, how old are you? And I'm automatically like, oh my God, like, this is not really your business, is it? Stranger. And they're like, oh, we're 18. And they're like, do your parents know that you're here? It's just like two couples who came to Vegas together and just wanted to get married together. Both of them are in the military. They're
Okay.
all four of these young people are friends. And then there's like another couple that's separate from them that's getting married afterwards, basically. Because
Okay, I gotcha.
I have like three couples, two of them are together, one of them is separate, and they're getting married in like 30 minutes. So she's like asking them, like, do your parents know? How long have you even been together? Do you even know? How do you know you're not making a mistake? And I'm sitting there and I'm filling out the paperwork for the second couple, and I was like, oh my fucking God. And they're just like laughing at me. And I was just like, it's cool how people think it's their business, huh? And they're like, I'm saying this to this couple while I'm like checking them in because they're just sitting there talking. And I think it's so weird when people just completely like, this is my business because I'm marrying them. I don't ask those questions.
Yeah.
It's not my fucking business.
It's fucking rude is what it is. It's,
exactly.
But some people don't care. Some people just don't care. This is the way they are. Oh, maybe that's nervousness too, or maybe they're just, they're evil like that.
It wasn't the couple. Like, it was the groom and his sister, and I think they were waiting for the bride. It was like his sister who was asking all of these questions. It's always someone who's not getting married, who's nosy as fuck and feels like they need to be involved. But
it's the family.
Like, I'm like sitting there with my head in my hands while I'm filling out paperwork, like super embarrassed because I can't tell her to stop asking them questions.
Right.
And this couple is just sitting in front of me laughing at me, and I'm like, guys, I'm so tired. And they're like, and then I married them, and they kissed. They were in a relationship. I think they've been together for like they were older by a couple of years than the other couple.
I can't even imagine the things you've seen. It's so cool. That's why I appreciate you talking to me about this, because it's so unique. It's such a different job. Real quick before we get to the last thing, have you ever seen a couple that is truly, truly in love, and you can tell and you can feel that?
Yeah.
What's that like to be surrounded by that? Because I have not seen love in a long time.
Overwhelming. It's just, I don't know. It's just the way that people...
You lit up. You did.
Know. I'm thinking it's just the way that people kind of... I would say you can tell when people really love each other. It's just the people that have the easiest conversation. Like, where I feel like I'm just sitting there and I could talk to this person, I could talk to this person, and they talk to each other and they're laughing and they're happy. And I would say most of the times that I have it are the couples where I'm just sitting down and we're just doing the paperwork at the counter. A lot of people who just come in to sign the paperwork a lot of them have either been together for like a month or they've been together for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. So this job constantly like reaffirms my belief in marriage while also tearing it down every single day. I don't know. It's not about marriage. Marriage works when the couple makes it work. When you have two people who are willing to enter a partnership together, then they don't see it as like a big deal. Like, the bigger the deal people make out of it, the less that you feel like they truly understand what they're getting married for. They're just getting married because that's what they're supposed to do. When I feel like, oh, well, we decided to get married because it was time, as opposed to the people who have been together for 12 years who are like, oh, we've been together for 12 years, but I don't know, like, I need insurance, and we make taxes easier. Like, when you're only getting married because it will make things a little bit more convenient, as opposed to because it's supposed to be the next part of your relationship, I think that's when I feel like it makes sense. And some people may know after like 2 or 3 years. I've had people who've only been together for 2 years where I can see that in them and I see how they react together. And you can just tell that they're matched together, they're good with each other, they have the personality types to make it work. Then you see the couple where one, they're fighting before they even start, and they mention divorce a lot already, which to me is like, if someone is just like, they get married and then they're just like, so where do we go for the divorce? Like, if they make the one joke, it's okay. Usually people will make it once, but you keep like a mental tally of how many times people mention the D word, and it's like a multiplier. Every time they mention it, it's like, I feel like, oh, this guy is having some second thoughts, or this woman is having some second thoughts.
So you have a very unique perspective on marriage and watching people in that. Do you believe most people are in love. Do you believe there's a soulmate, or do you believe that people find a partner? I personally believe you're lucky enough to find somebody in this world. There's no such thing as a soulmate. If there was, that's fairy tale stuff. But you have an interesting perception where you've seen so many people get married. Is there such a thing as a soulmate? Is there such a thing as true love? Or do some people just pair up?
I don't know. I think there are going to be people in the world where you have like the utmost connection with them. And sometimes I think that they're your lover or your partner. And sometimes they're like a friend or someone that maybe you don't have a romantic connection with, but you know that person. Like I have some friends where I feel like I share a brain with them sometimes because like I feel that level of like connection with them. I think that it just depends. I think that people can find a romantic partner that they are happy with that maybe doesn't exactly feel like their soulmate, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, because I meet people where you look at them and you almost feel like they're meant to be together. But everyone feels like they have their own unique personality. But at the same time, I do feel like if you found another person with the same type of personality as the person you were with, then you would be able to find another person, even if you thought that you had found your soulmate. I just think that there's too many people out there for there to only ever be one. I don't know. And I see a lot of people who move on after losing a partner. Like I marry a lot of older people too. I marry a lot of old people who have been married maybe 2 or 3 times, and they've been married 2 or 3 times and their partners have died. But they still are able to move on and find happiness. And maybe it's not quite their soulmate, but I don't know. That's always what you need.
I agree with you. But I can tell you believe you have a tell. You do. You have a tell. When you talk about love, your eyes sparkle. They do. So you believe in it 100%. I want to talk about the most interesting thing. Like I said, I was watching your stream. And this is when I went, oh my God, I've got to get her on a podcast because this is the coolest shit. It's kind of everything we've talked about already. But it's so unique and so different. You married straight couples, you married gay couples, and also not wanting a female minister. It all plays together in this story.
Yeah.
So please tell us about this. I'm going to bury the lead. I've been calling it a specific thing. We get there, I'm going to scream it. So what happened with this wedding? Can you walk us through this? It's so good.
It's so good. It sticks in my memory so much. It started off, my least favorite thing to always have to deal with is when someone books something on the same day, because half the time if someone books the same day and they want to come in, they have no idea. It means that they didn't read anything online. They just paid money, and now I have to call them and tell them everything that they don't want to hear, which is that they have to pay us more money basically when they get here. So I'm like scrolling through her reservation, and at the bottom, I only see one name on here, and it's a really strange name. It's Angel Superstar. I'm like, okay, right. First of all, that's always like, all right, so Angel.
It's a stripper name.
It's a stripper of course, name. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm expecting. I scroll to the bottom of her reservation, and on this reservation, she says, I want to commit to myself. What? Okay, I want to commit to myself as a badass boss babe rock star.
Boss babe!
Exactly, boss babe. She said
boss babe!
Goddess. She wanted to commit to herself as a boss babe ethereal goddess.
A boss babe ethereal goddess.
Yep. So you can imagine like the bag full of crazy that I am completely preparing myself to call right now.
I can't even imagine. I would be freaking out. My anxiety would be gone. I would be like popping anti-anxiety. I'd be like, give me all them Ativan and all the weed right now.
I was just sitting there, and I always have to prep myself before I make a phone call that I don't want to do. And I'm like, okay. And I call her, and she picks up, and I'm like, hi, Angel. I saw that you booked with us for 3 o'clock. I just want to remind you, you need to be here by 2:30. And she's like, I didn't book with you. And I was like, yeah, I have your reservation that came in online. And she's like, no, I wanted to book with someone else. I didn't mean to book with you. I want you to refund me. And I'm like, okay, no, I can't. I'm so sorry. Like, I can't offer any refunds. I can do a photo shoot if you just want to come and take pictures if you don't want to get married with us. And she was really not happy. And she was like, well, I didn't want to book with you, but I guess since I can't get my money back, I'll see you there. And she just hung up. And I was already like, oh my God, this is interesting. And I don't want her to have a bad time when she comes in because I've already had this like struggle with her on the phone. And so I like sit down with my script, and it's the same script I use. I use the same script for every single wedding. And I set it down and I get a notebook and I start writing a ceremony, because obviously all of the ceremonies that I do are usually between two people. So that's what I have set up. Do you take this person to be your lawfully wedded partner to have and to hold? In order to do that for just one person, I didn't want to sound like I'd never done it before. So I wrote Angel her own script. Like I wrote an entire new thing out for her. And she comes in and
raging, right?
She's Australian. And I'm like, Angel! And she's like, hello! And I was like, how are you today? And she's like, well, it's been an interesting day. And I was like, I'm so sorry we had problems on the phone before, but I'm so excited to marry you to you because you're awesome. And she was like, yeah, I'm awesome.
You tried to win it back. You greeted her.
Right. I'm like, welcome. It's kind of like I throw in a lot of excitement so that way people are too scared to be mad. So I'm like, I'm so excited to meet you. And she's like, oh, well, she starts talking about her past and kind of like why she wanted to do this. And she was telling me how she had a traumatic brain injury and that she was wanting to leave Australia. Whenever I have a couple, I try really hard to just let them talk to me about what they're comfortable saying instead of asking them any questions, because I don't want to make them uncomfortable or anything like that. So I kind of like ask a question, and then a lot of people just talk and they don't stop. So then I just kind of listen to them and nod. I let her talk, and she's like, well, I'm trying to just move on from a really bad experience that I had, and I have this brain injury now. And I don't know if it was like, again, I don't know if it was an ex or if it was just like an experience that she had. Again, the self-commitment made me feel like it could have been like maybe a partner like that. But just to see, she came in and she was smiling, and she was a little bit crazy because I don't know if you've ever spoken with someone who does have a traumatic brain injury, but it can be hard to get like a straight conversation out of them because the way that they talk becomes so disorganized sometimes. So, and that's why when I was trying to read her stuff that she wrote online, it was all over the place and it was hard to piece together, which is why I can't remember it very well. She's kind of dressed normal at this point, jeans and like a t-shirt, and I send her into the bridal room to get dressed, and she comes out and she's in this like pink wig, like big pink wig.
What?
I know, right? And she's in like this big pink dress, and she's holding onto this like weird mermaid plushie. It's very interesting, and we kind of clip it onto one of our bouquets that we let her hold. And she's just like, this is so great. I'm so excited to be here. I'm glad that I booked here. And she wants to like walk down the aisle to a song by Lizzo. I think it's like Let Me Feel Myself or something. Like you could tell. And she like danced down the aisle and she's like, yeah, I'm going to feel myself. And she was like, she was so cute. It was just kind of nice to see. Again, I don't know exactly what her background was, but obviously she had suffered through something. So like to see her, and like she came up and she stood there and we kind of just were facing each other, and my coworker had to take some interestingly shot photos just to get something good. It was hard to take her photos. It's hard to take like pose photos of just one person. And it was kind of just me and her talking to each other almost, which is really nerve-wracking. And I asked her, and like, Angel, do you take yourself to be an awesome boss babe, ethereal goddess, rock star that doesn't need anybody to take care of her but you? Do you commit to yourself down this path of like self-care and self-love, and you promise that you don't let anyone else determine your self-worth for you? And she was like crying. She's like, I do. And I'm like, okay, now you can take your ring, and if you'd like to place your ring on your finger as a symbol of your self-commitment. And then we took pictures of it, and then she had some things that she kind of just wanted to say out loud. She had like a little piece of paper that I let her read from, where she kind of was just like, I'm ready to start this new life in this new country with me as the leader of it. And I'm so excited for what I can do. And it was so, what started out as something that was like genuinely afraid of like her coming in and causing me problems it was really nice to know that I was able to provide something like that for someone who had suffered. Again, it's like she wasn't even getting married. It wasn't like two people. It was just the three of us there. But to have this like crazy lady, all pink wig, amazing makeup, just come in and feel herself.
And she was that boss babe.
She fucking was. I was like, damn, I want to be. I was like, you are who you are. And it's
100%
nice to see.
Fucking 100%
angel
herself.
Superstar.
And I think that's a powerful message too, because a lot of people put so much worth into finding somebody else or being with somebody, and they obsess about it constantly. And something I've learned from being single for the last 2 years is there is something to being happy with yourself. If you are not happy and content with yourself, you have no fucking business being with anyone else, because all you're going to do is become an anchor to that person. You're going to bring them down. It's going to cause issues. But two people who are complete alone, who come together, endlessly powerful, can do anything in this fucking world. So if you are not prepared to get married or even be with somebody, you have no business doing so.
Of course.
But if you love yourself on that level, anything is possible. And the fact that she loved herself so much, she walked into a Las Vegas chapel and said, I'm going to commit to myself. And the way you tell the story, you've seen all these other people get married, but that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one out of all the weddings that you remember the most.
It's Angel. I love her. I feel like she taught me something. And it was just nice to see, because you said I see so many people who come in and get married for the wrong reasons, because they're scared to be alone and they think that that's what's going to fix it. They're scared. They think that that's what they have to do. They think that getting married is going to fix their relationship. But then you see the people who come in and they, like you said, they're complete. You can see that they are complete people separately, and then that when they're together, they're just better. They're just like an enhanced version of themselves. And that's obviously what marriage, that's not what marriage was made for. It's made for some bullshit reason, but that's who benefits the most from
that was
marriage.
said by a minister. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I know.
But truthfully, I think that we're on the same page on this. It's two people who are whole alone, who come together and form something completed. And it's amazing. I love the idea of it. I'm 35. I've never been married. There is no sign of that happening in the future. But I believe in love, and I know it exists because I've seen it, and I've seen it change people. And I do believe the Beatles, when they sang All You Need Is Love, I think it is super powerful. And if you don't like the Beatles, you can go fuck yourself, number one. Hopefully you like the Beatles, Howdy. I apologize if you don't.
How bad would you feel if I didn't, though?
It's fine. Either way. But here's the thing. This has been a blast. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. This is going to go out to so many people. Like, it's so unique. Epic.
It was fun. I had
Personal
so much fun.
And epic. Thank you so much for joining us on this. This is Duck, and I've been here with...
Cloudy.
Yeah, we'll go for it. And thank you so much for listening.
And there it is. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you have enjoyed it, please do not forget, share with your friends. That is how we grow the network. And if this is your first time listening, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, you're going to love the other podcasts here on the We Are Podcast Network. We have We Are Error, where we talk about movies, entertainment, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. That's me, that's Jake, that's Javi. We're breaking down pop culture, and we're having a blast. Don't forget Heroes Gyros, a Dungeons and Distraction side quest. Me and the boys were sitting down, we're playing some D&D, we're having so much fun. You can go and start that from the beginning of the journey, Season 1, Episode 1. You're going to love it all the way through. And finally, We Are Bagu, a video game podcast featuring me and Dr. Ethan Eastwood. That's where we talk Atari to Steam and everything in between. Head on over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. Also, head over to the Facebook group, We Are Error. We would love to see you in that group. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, share it with your friends. That's the only way we can grow this network. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time.